What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, Packers_Total_Access@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. We're flying solo this evening as both Jacob and Tim are on assignment, and Emilio's out there working late, man. He's working after dark. Thank God for some street lights around a hotel, man. My man is out there just grinding, making that money. So I see the chat already filling up. Appreciate everybody swinging through on this Friday night, man. Really didn't expect this many people in here. We usually don't do a Friday night show, but this is awesome. I know I've got some Friday night lights on the TV here, actually watching Honaker and Chill Howie going at it this evening over here just across the state line in Virginia. But I hope everybody's doing well. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat tonight, guys. You guys know how it is too, though. If I go through reading the chat, we're going to have some dead air for the podcast. So I'll keep an eye out for anything going on there. Hopefully we can get you guys involved as well. Everybody hanging out here. Ari Iron Miner said, just drink this with 1792. There you go. There you go, bud. Drink responsibly, right? But good way to wind down the work week, right? I see we got iRock in here. We got Jay. We got United Bates, Greg Rice, Chris C., Greg in the house, Mike Berry, Nick McSwain, Josh Valandingham, Chris N., everybody swinging through. Appreciate y'all. So what we're going to do is just kind of dive in a little bit deeper into the Packers-Rams. Obviously, we're going to hit on the injury report that dropped earlier today and kind of make sure we got our P's and Q's in line here as far as what the injury report looks like. We'll just start off with that right now. As a matter of fact, Matt Schneiden tweeted this out. Packers final injury report versus the Rams. Out is Devontae Wyatt. Kind of expected that. I think we would all agree. This surprised me that Christian Watson was doubtful. I thought he would be out for at least one game, and he may very well be, but the fact that he's doubtful really kind of, unless he has a setback, probably getting him back next week. Romeo Dobbs, who's dealing with the personal issue, obviously he's listed as doubtful there. Matt LaFleur basically said we're going to take it day by day, or day to day basically. So we'll see how that shakes out. Like I said, thoughts and prayers to Rome with whatever he's going through there. Questionable: Jaire Alexander, Elton Jenkins, Edgerrin Cooper, Jordan Morgan, Luke Musgrave, Carrington Valentine, and Jonathan Ford. Good to go are Jordan Love and Kenny Clark. So the big thing here for me, gang, is the biggest impact obviously would be Jaire Alexander and Elton Jenkins. You want those two starters to play. Hopefully they can, based off of the practice footage we've seen earlier in the week with Jaire Alexander, I think he's probably going to be good to go. That's unless he had a setback, of course. Elton Jenkins, probably something similar. Edgerrin Cooper, I don't know that the hip, if I understood correctly, it's not the same level of injury with the hip. You guys know he's dealt with a hip earlier in the year. I believe Matt LaFleur was specifically asked about that, and his response was essentially, yes, that's not quite that bad. So maybe it's just more of a preventive thing and to try to get Edgerrin Cooper out there. I believe Edgerrin Cooper is actually leading us in stop percentage. If not stop percentage, maybe it was missed tackle percentage in a good way. I just know that he was one that kind of popped up toward the top of the list when it comes to our run defense. Not necessarily run defense grade. That's about Fitz being in the right spot for the most part. But overall, I think he's played pretty well in the running game. So I would like to see him get more snaps. Obviously, he's going to get more comfortable. He graded out really, really bad this last game. Of course, he had the face mask. But you got to get him out there, man, to get everything shook off, right? The nerves shook out and the rust knocked off. And that's why I was on team Let's Play Jordan last week when they said basically there's no extra risk for hurting Jordan Love's knee. That's why I'm like, man, let's get that rust knocked off right now. And hopefully he can come out here and be the old Jordan Love as he gets set to face the Rams. Who, again, guys, this is the epitome of a trap game. There's probably no one on the face of the earth giving the Rams a chance to win this ball game. Those are the dangerous ones. Those guys got a lot of bulletin board material, no doubt about that. So I see Greg Rice says I'm probably on our to return. Appreciate the update there, Greg. You man. Got, like I said, Bates in here. Mr. Larry in the house. Everybody sit up straight. Mr. Larry has entered the chat. Like I said, good to go. Jordan Love, Kenny Clark. Let's look at the official injury report just to see if we missed anything here. So I like to see kind of the progression through the week. Jaire Alexander with the groin did not participate Wednesday. Then he was limited listed questionable, 50% chance of playing. Kenny Clark did not participate, then limited. He's obviously going to play. He has no game status listed. When it comes to Edgerrin Cooper, limited, did not participate, then limited. That's a little shaky there. He's listed as questionable. Yeah, I wouldn't plan on Edgerrin Cooper playing, but if he can play, great. That did not participate in the middle there makes you think he had quite the setback on Thursday, although he was limited, like I said, today. Romeo Dobbs, it's there, it's doubtful is what is the listing here. So I was thinking it was actually questionable, not doubtful. Okay, so it was, yeah. Christian Watson and him are doubtful. So yeah, Rome needs to just go take care of what he needs to take care of there for sure. Jonathan Ford, limited. He's questionable. Been a little bit of talk about Jonathan Ford. Everybody's like, yeah, man, maybe he'll fit in well with this 4-3. He could, but the way I've always seen Jonathan Ford is he's one of those stout guys. It's a two-gapper. He's your quintessential nose tackle in a 34 jam, right? And it doesn't mean he can't adapt to playing in a 4-3 at the NFL level, but I wouldn't bank on it. So Elton Jenkins did not participate, and then limited. He's questionable. I'd say Elton's going to go would be my guess. Jordan Love, obviously, he's going to play, no game status. He's full participation the last 2 days. That's going to be huge to get that extra practice time. Jordan Morgan was limited all week long. He's listed as questionable. What I don't want to see happen, guys, is them go back to Jordan Morgan being the starter at right guard. And you guys know I've been team Jordan Morgan all year. But Sean Ryan is starting to hit his stride. And, let Jordan Morgan, kind of come in relief. And if they want to do a rotation, let him be the rotational dude, right, to come in off the bench and give Sean Ryan a majority of the snaps, man. Let him build on that momentum. And then if you do that, then you've got Jordan Morgan, who played his entire college career at tackle. And then, of course, it doesn't mean he's going to be our backup left tackle or anything, but he's kind of that versatile dude on the line, right? So why not have him come off the bench if need be, if somebody gets banged up, they break a chin strap, something like that. Luke Musgrave did not participate all week. He's questionable. I don't expect him to play. I'm kind of excited to see Ben Sims. I don't mean to dog Luke Musgrave too much here, but Ben Sims, when he got the opportunities last year when tight ends were banged up, I thought he played pretty damn well. So I would be excited to see what Ben Sims can do called on in a pinch there and let Musgrave get completely healthy with that ankle. That's just kind of the way I see that. I don't think Musgrave's going to play. So look for some Ben Sims. Although, the Packers like to run a lot of 11. They do run some 12. I think Ben Sims would get a significant amount of snaps if he is called up. Carrington Valentine is still questionable. He was limited all week. That's one of those things that you guys know. You probably get tired of hearing me say it. I'm a big Kentucky Wildcat fan. I love the fact that Carrington went to Kentucky. I don't think Carrington – I don't see him as a level of player as some people do. Some people say he's a really good corner. I think he's kind of above average based off what he's shown so far. Now, is he better than Eric Stokes? Probably. The tape will kind of suggest that early on this year, although there's limited amount of snaps for Carrington. I don't like the idea of a less than 100% Carrington Valentine going out there and taking snaps. That's just me. I kind of feel like it's two negatives. You can risk getting him hurt even worse, and you got a guy that already I just don't see as kind of like a dominant player. So you could end up hurting your chances of winning this ball game in the secondary, and you could also set him back with more injury. Christian Watson did not participate all week long. He's doubtful. I don't expect him to play, but it's pretty cool that he is listed as doubtful as opposed to just out. That's interesting. It really is. Maybe it's just Matt LaFleur trying to give them a little something else to game plan for, right? A little gamesmanship there. And then Devontae White, of course, is out. I'm surprised he's not on the IR with him being around on crutches and in a boot in the locker room. So when we hop over to the Rams side, nothing crazy here. Everybody on the injury list is pretty much set to play other than Cooper Kupp and Laryl Murchison, I think is his name, defensive end. He is out as well. So we already knew Cooper Kupp, although he's not on the IR, he wasn't going to play this week. And they've already got Puka Nacua out too. So we're going to try to get to some of the players that may step into that wide receiver role for the Rams as we get ready to kick off here Sunday. Obviously, we are going to be having a 3:25 Central kickoff out there in LA. I like the fact that, the way you're going to win this game, in my opinion, is you've got to take advantage of the fact that they're kind of hurting at receiver. It doesn't mean Matt Stafford can't make plays. I think the key to this game plan is going to be stopping Kyren Williams. I believe that's their running back, if I remember correctly. I don't want to tell y'all wrong here. Yeah, Kyren Williams, 23rd highest graded running back in the league right now. He's pretty physical back. He does have some breakaway speed too, just shifty. He does everything pretty good. So I think if you stop him, that's going to be key to the game plan. Stop him and kind of keep everything in front of you with Matt Stafford, although they don't really have a deep threat guy at the moment. They never really do with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp as well. They like to kind of play the spacing game underneath off of play action. One thing I noticed watching the tape earlier today, and I watched their last game every snap, and they love to use play action to get those backers to bite up and then hit that midline. That's the way they like to attack defenses. So shout out to Jay in the chat. Became a YouTube member. Appreciate you supporting the stream, buddy. Thank you so much. And all right, let's move on to the next topic here. I thought this was cool. This actually came in from Packers.base, this graphic here. I thought it was a really neat graphic. Let me drop this down real quick. Matt LaFleur talking about Tay Wicks. You guys know Tay Wicks has had a rough go at it, had a lot of drops that last game. What's crazy is he's getting open like over 80% of the time, if I understood correctly. That's the number I keep hearing tossed around. So his route running is as good as it's ever been. The question is, can you finish? Can you catch the football, right? And I think that's something you can fix. I don't feel like his hands were a big issue last year. I thought he capitalized. If you guys remember, he had the highest passer rating when targeted on third down, and he worked a lot out of the slot. I feel like they've moved him around a little bit more this year. But the Matt LaFleur quote here from Packer.base is, I'm excited about him and what he can become because we can see the talent. We can all see the talent. He's tough to guard at the line of scrimmage. I know what he's capable of doing. So look for, if Christian Watson's going to be out, I think we would all agree there's a very, very good chance we're going to be without number 9. Tay Wicks probably going to get some more targets again this week. So I think your top receivers are probably going to be, if Romeo doesn't play, then it's going to be Jaden Reed, Tay Wicks, and our boy Bo Melton. I think that Tay and Jaden will kind of rotate in the slot. And what you're losing with Romes is your true boundary X. So you're losing your X receiver, okay? And who's going to fill that role, right? Christian sometimes will play, for the most part, he'll play Z and he'll play a little bit of slot. But what's complicated about Matt LaFleur's offense is you got the F position, and typically that's Jaden Reed moving around in the F, the motion guy, right? Because we like to use him on the jet sweeps and other ways that we can kind of get him open. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on. Where are these guys going to fit in with the snaps? You would think, okay, maybe they'll press into 12 personnel. Well, if Musgrave isn't playing, I can't imagine they'd be more excited about getting Ben Sims snaps instead of Bo Melton, right? That's kind of how that shakes out. Bo Melton, Malik Heath, don't sleep on him either. Strong hands. Again, I think Matt's going to be prepared to scheme up something nice. Every game really comes down to the same thing, gang. It's turnover differential. It's controlling explosives. And the big thing for the Packers are the penalties. I think we're the 4th most penalized team in the league right now, if I remember correctly. So shout out to Josh Vallandigham gifting 5 Packers Total Access memberships. Appreciate you, buddy. You are the man. Thank you so much, Josh. So, again, look for Tay Wicks this week, man. He's going to be looking to redeem himself, no doubt about it. I'm excited to see if he's up for the task because you can see the separation. He's so smooth in his release package. He's so smooth with his route running. Last year, like I said, I didn't feel like the hands were a big problem, but obviously they have kind of irked us a little bit this year for sure. Got to get the penalties under control, though. Got to. As Ari Ironminer sums it up, penalties suck. Yes, sir, they do. That is a true story. So we had a Patreon question come in from Randy Cleavers. All right. Randy in the Patreon group, appreciate you, buddy. He says, we need more interior push on defense. How do we get this done? Players, alignment, or sending 5? ? All of the above, Randy. So one of the big talking points has been, we played mobile quarterback, so now that excuse is out the window. We've got to get after the quarterback, right? We can go after Sam Darnold. Well, some of those people, I guess, didn't watch the tape and watch Sam Darnold scramble for a first down. Sam Darnold is a good athlete. Listen, he's not Anthony Richardson. He's not Will Levis in his scrambling ability, but he has the wheels to hurt you. The same as any other quarterback that's not an aging quarterback, right? Now, when you look at our boy Matt Stafford, a lot different. Matt Stafford, although he's trimmed down a lot the last 3 or 4 years, kind of getting the weight really down. He's kind of playing at a much slimmer build. You don't have to worry about him scrambling near as much as Sam Darnold. But when Matt LaFleur talks about it's how you rush the passer, and it's kind of the game plan around rushing the passer, he's not necessarily talking about a scrambling quarterback. There's other aspects of that. There's the running game you're trying to defend, right? Within the game plan, you've got something that the Carolina Panthers did about 3-4 years ago. They started to implement it. Might have been a few years before that, actually. They implemented what we call run stunts, where they'll actually stunt the defensive line, and not in an aggressive manner to get after the quarterback. That's what I'm seeing with the interior defensive line. Like when I turn on the tape, I don't see these guys just pinning their ears back and going. Now, we showed a couple snaps there where Kenny Clark move a dude, threw him into Devontae White. That's actually what hurt his ankle. I don't mean to laugh, but it was just like, man, the luck we've got this year with injuries. But what I mean by that is those guys they're more moving laterally. They're not thinking, let's get after the quarterback right here on this snap. I'm not saying every snap, okay? Please, that's kind of the way people want to respond today when you mention a specific tactic that a defense or an offense is using. They immediately take it and run with it like, oh, they're doing that every play. No, that's not what we're saying. Just like when we're talking about the pass rush, no one's saying the pass rush is good, right? We're simply pointing out, like when you look at Rashawn Gary and the way he rushes the quarterback, we actually, after the show last night, me, Emilio, and Tim, we pulled up the tape and we watched pretty much all of Rashawn Gary's snaps that last game, okay? And what you see with Rashawn, many times when he was single blocked, they threw the ball away from him, right? And what does that mean? You go, okay, well, that's great. You're hitting from the blind side. The quarterback's throwing the opposite side of the field. Not when the ball's coming out in less than 3 seconds. So what I noticed personally, was when they would chip Gary, they would throw to his side of the field. When they wouldn't chip, the ball was coming out really, really fast to the left. You could see the game plan is geared around don't let 52 wreck our offensive game plan. You could see it plain as day. And then when you watch the defensive lineman in the middle, you see a lot of run stunning, a lot of side-to-side movement. Who are we playing, guys? It was Aaron Jones. We talked about it. Like the number one focus is you can't let Aaron Jones run all over you. We kept him under 100 yards. His yards per attempt was still pretty decent. He gashed us in the passing game a couple times, which, oh, my God. You talk about a game of inches. There was a couple times, like on one of the screens I specifically remember, they got so lucky that the ball didn't hit their own offensive player in the back. And Jonesy just doing what Jonesy does. We've seen it for years, making a great catch, move, spatial awareness, all those things. So to answer your question, more interior push, absolutely. Maybe this is the week they turn those guys loose. But when you see that from a game planning standpoint, and then you notice the other team's getting the ball out quick and they're chipping when they throw to 52 side, the pressure's got to come from somewhere else. And the way that Hafley tried to game plan around it, what he did was he tried to move Gary around and move him over to the left side from the offense's perspective. And then if you'll notice the Keyshawn Nixon blitz, right, they hit home with the strip sack. Everybody goes, oh, well, that's just a free runner. That was Hafley. If you watch, Gary actually they run a TE stunt on that play. The TE stunt takes all the focus off of the nickel blitz, and Keyshawn did one hell of a job disguising that nickel blitz too. So there's a lot of things that come into play from the game planning standpoint. That's not just, oh, it's not a scrambling quarterback this week, therefore we can't pin our ears back and rush. You've got the throwing lanes too. These guys are watching tape. The coaching staff's putting together a game plan going, all right, he likes to throw at this depth. He likes to throw in this window on these specific situations, right? And when you go that route, now the goal is we got to clog up those throwing lanes too. So it's not just a, video game. Let's just pin our ears back and go after the quarterback. So I think bringing 5, obviously you've seen some improvement in the pressure there in the second half when you started to bring more blitzers. Nobody wants to hit home with pressure with 4 more than me, guys. Like that's how you really create a bully on defense. Yeah, when you're building a bully, you build a bully by simply being able to create a defensive front that can get pressure with 4. Our 4 can't get it right now. They just can't. So you got to manufacture that as you go along. Now, here's the other thing that people, kind of don't take into consideration. The Vikings have 2 of the best tackles in the game. And you go, okay, well, that was just one game, Clayton. All right, what happened the week before? Yeah, the week before we got 8 sacks, right? So they get paid too. So there's a lot of that going on as well. So you got to put your guys in a position to do better. I love that Hafley was accountable with it and was like, look, we need more from Gary, and Gary needs more from us, right? So I think that's absolutely awesome that they approached it that way, for sure. So appreciate the question there, though, Randy. So again, we need more interior push. How do you get this done? I think this week you got Kyren. Now, here's what I'm noticing about Kyren Williams. He likes to run outside stretch, outside zone runs. So this week might be the week that you feel comfortable saying, hey, all right, let's let that interior defensive line pin their ears back, forget the run stumping for a second. Because with Jonesy, we showed you on his chart, he could really gash you on the inside. And Kyren can too. I'm just simply saying when you look at the explosive plays that Kyren has this year, what you're seeing is outside stretch runs. And again, the number one goal is controlling the stretch, right? Matter of fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we change things up here a minute? You guys bear with me. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with Kyren real quick. If I can get this to pull up, I'm going to go to the film room here and see if we can. We're going to try this a little bit different. If the stream goes down, you guys know why it went down. We're still live on Rumble. We're still live on X as well. So feel free to hop over there. Just search Packers Total Access and you will have it. Okay. So let me jump in here real quick. Bang. All right. I'm going to try to get this to where you guys can see it fairly well. But let's go to Kyren Williams. All right. So here's Kyren Williams, and we'll kind of show you the criteria here. If you look at the top, this is this year. Okay. 10 plus rushing yards on a play. All right. So here's all his explosives, 10 yards or more. And we've got 3 plays is what he's hit on. So let's kind of key in. Let's go end zone cam and see exactly what he's doing when it comes to hitting on these. All right. So let me close this in now that we got that. Hopefully y'all can see that okay. All right, here we go. So let's watch here. Okay, right here they're in a nasty set. Obviously they've got 2 tight ends. Looks like a heavier set. That might not even be a tight end right here. That actually might be an extra offensive lineman. Big old boy if it's a tight end. But you see they've definitely got 12 personnel in the game here. They got a nasty split, I'm sure. They love to run it just like we do. Let's see where the play goes. And this is a 13-yard run here, okay, against the 49ers. Look at it, stretch outside. And they actually had a makeshift sift here. Watch the tight end going to get what not really it's kind of a cheat sift. See him get out front, bang, outside, off to the races. Nice little jab step, hits the sideline. That's what Kyren Williams is doing for explosives this year. All right, let's move on to the next play. This is going to be a 12-yard gain against Chicago. Watch it again. Notice the nasty splits, everybody inside the numbers. Looks like a strong right look here. It's actually 11 personnel. They run more 11 personnel than anybody else in the league, if I remember correctly. So let's see where the play goes. Cheat motion. That eye candy made the corner back off. This one was inside, right? Gashed up the middle. Nice hard running. So you can see kind of a cutback ability when they're running inside as well. And then the third one is going to be a 14-yard gain against Chicago. Let's go end zone. And let's see where this one goes. So once again, right here, it looks like 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, unless this is a wide receiver that came in kind of like how we use Christian Watson, almost like a makeshift wing, right? Let's see where the run goes here. Outside. See it? Outside stretch. Look at that zone blocking. Notice how everybody, they don't really hit a gap. They just kind of fan right. Actually, look like a little pin and pull too. See right here? Typically, it's on the opposite side, but nonetheless, outside zone. That's how they're hitting on their explosive. So you got 1 inside, couple outside. That's Kyren Williams. Okay. Just wanted to show that because this week, a little bit different than last week against Jonesy. You're probably keyed in a little bit more on their stretch play. Now, they love to run a lot of pistol set. We talked in the offseason how that was one of the big things that's really taken off in the NFL. The pistol formation starting to come back and become popular. And the reason it's popular, these may have been pistol sets. I didn't even look at that. Let me just take a quick glance. That was actually an ace set there. I want to show you guys an example of a pistol set. I think I've seen one in here. No, that's ace. Give me just a second. And this one is so all 3 of those were actually ace sets. So he's under center. All right. I did see some pistol earlier when I was watching their tape, though. So they do run pistol. And ace accomplishes the same thing as pistol from a standpoint of you're not sidecar right or left, meaning you can run in any direction. So everybody's got to be on their A game to be able to cover those outside stretch plays. Okay. So that's kind of how that's looking there. So just wanted to hit on that just to touch, like I said, of what's going on with Kyron Williams. So we got the Patreon question in, and it kind of did tie in with everything else. So interceptions, shout out to Joshua Dodge. He's a member of our Patreon group. Let me throw this up here in case anybody wants to join that awesome community. You can scan that QR code in the upper right. That'll send you to our Patreon group, or you can just go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access Live. What we've got is when we do Chalk Talks, I'm trying to include every interception that the Packers have this year, whether it had a huge impact on the game or not. We really want to chart those interceptions to see where are we getting these turnovers from. Now, you guys know I've been very vocal. I'm not a big man coverage person. I know a lot of fans were calling for it in the offseason. I'm just not a big fan of it. But I wanted to kind of chart this and go, okay, Joshua stepped up to the plate. Really appreciate his help. He's going back through our Chalk Talks and going, okay, what did we think the coverage was? And I'm always going to say, did we think? Because, again, we're not in the meeting room. There may be a lock aspect, a cover 3 lock, a cover 2 lock. There may be some of that kind of – you'll see sometimes I put question marks, and he'll add them in for us too, like this zone match question mark. Pretty sure it was zone match, but, again, you don't really know unless you're in the meeting room. All you can do is watch the tape. Sometimes you know, but I'm always going to throw that disclaimer out there. So here's what we got so far, all right? Like Joshua says, updated coverage is resulting in interceptions this year. Against the Eagles, nickel 4-2-5, Tampa 2. That was Xavier McKinney with the interception, okay? Tampa 2 is a zone defense. Nickel 4-2-5, shell, cover 4. All right, so we were showing 2 high shell, cover 4 zone match. It was Ja. So zone match, I put a question mark because that's the play where Ja just kind of freelanced. To me, it looked like everybody else was in spot drop, but it was almost like there was on one side of the field, someone did kind of match a coverage, and then Ja completely breaks off of his coverage, turns his back to the play, and goes to the end zone to get the interception. So, again, I think that was a zone match. I feel really comfortable saying that was a zone match, although I did put a question mark. So, another zone play. Against the Colts, nickel 4-2-5, cover 1 man, double linebacker fire. All right, and that was X with the interception. So there you see your first man coverage interception, okay? Nickel 4-2-5, cover 1 man, double linebacker fire. So they were actually bringing 6 on that blitz in a cover 1 man look, which is essentially man across the board. You're bringing 6. You got a single high safety playing post. And again, that was X with that interception playing that single high post. The next one, Colts game, 4-3 over, cover 6 hybrid. That was Wilson. So when I say hybrid, to me, it looked like spot drop. Wilson actually ran vertically with the play. It's almost like he recognized something in the offense. Maybe it's something he's seen on tape. Made a great break on the ball. Great interception. So, again, that hybrid look there. With cover 6, half the field is cover 2, half the field is cover 4. That's what we mean by cover 6. Some people call it a 2x4, right? They'll describe it that way, but I've always heard it as cover 6. So, another zone. Next play, deep cover 3 match under, okay? So we were playing a cover 3 match zone. That was the Williams interception. Of course, with that play there, it was the Hail Mary, okay? So you can kind of take that and throw it out. And when you say match, you could tell they were kind of playing 2 different levels of zone, and everybody's going vert, so they're not going to just sit in the underneath zone knowing it's a Hail Mary. That's why it's important to mention that match under effect there. So in the Titans game, 4-3 over, cover 3 buzz. That was a job pick 6. Cover 3 buzz, real simple. It's a cover 3 defense with the safeties buzzing down. Ja was supposed to be deep third. He bit on the hook. And what's crazy is these teams see this stuff on tape. I guarantee you last week they watched the Titans game, they being the Minnesota Vikings. And you guys remember last year, Rasul got caught a couple times, clamping down, biting on double moves, on stop and goes when his responsibility was deep third. That's what you seen last week with Ballantyne. Guy runs a stop and go, he clamps down, dude scorches him for a touchdown. You could tell he just bit on the double move. Matt LaFleur talked about that was supposed to be a cover 3. I bet they seen on tape Ja do that and like, you know what? Let's try to add in a double move or 2 and see when we catch them in a cover 3 single high middle field close look, see if they'll bite on that double move. And we did. But nonetheless, that was cover 3 buzz, Ja with the pick 6. That's another zone defense. Nickel 4-2-5, cover 3 match. That was X. So it's a zone match principle there. There you go. It's not straight man coverage. Vikings, nickel 4-2-5, cover 3 spot drop. That was the Xavier McKinney pick there. And we showed it was spot drop. And it was almost like Xavier McKinney being able to diagnose the play. He was able to turn it into a Mabel look where he was supposed to have a mid hook. And instead of sticking in that mid hook, he noticed out route, deep, walking the deep third out. And he noticed Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield, read the quarterback's eyes, and he immediately goes over to that, 12 to 15 yard mark along the sideline. That's what you call a Mabel coverage, where you got 3 levels on the sideline. So if you got a team that likes to run trips and tray on you, and they like to attack with kind of a 3-level approach, like a high-low, almost like a flood concept, you can throw some Mabel in there and take all 3 of those away. The problem is you're taking that extra defender out of the middle of the field and opening up the backside digs, the backside drags, the backside slants, choice routes, skinny posts, all that. Xavier just read it. So you could tell the defense was cover 3 spot drop, and X said, you know what? We're good here. We got enough hats. Let's go get this pick. So essentially what you've got here is only one of these plays we can distinctively say that was man coverage. So now we've had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. 8 interceptions so far this year, 7 in zone, 1 in man. So thank you, Joshua Dodge, for, like I said, man, thank you for charting those, man. That's good information to have. And we'll keep up with it as the week or as the year goes along for sure. So hopefully that made some sense there. Just want to cover some of that. When the guys aren't in here, I can geek out on some of these numbers, some of these tendencies, so we can kind of get a better understanding of exactly what's going on there, right? So let's see what else we got here real quick on the docket. Let's jump into some PFF preview just from an overall standpoint, if that's cool with y'all, rather than diving into the player, one-on-one matchups, all that stuff like we usually do. And like we actually did a little bit of that last night. I wanted to hop in here and see, okay, where's the line at? How's everything looking from this standpoint? And here's what we got so far, okay? So hopefully y'all can see this on the screen well enough. I'll keep that QR code up there in case somebody needs it. I've had a couple people say, hey, man, you took the QR code down too soon. So there you go with that. Let me do this. Let me go full screen. That way you guys can see this a little bit better. There we go. All right, so here is the summary. PFF, obviously the game, 4:25 Eastern kickoff. It's going to be a 3:25 Central for those of you on Lambeau time. It's going to be on CBS. I think they said Jim Nantz and Tony Romo is going to be calling the game. That was interesting, seeing that the Rams are kind of really down this year. So it's kind of the CBS game of the week. That's cool. Obviously, it's going to be played indoors. That's going to be a fast track, that turf out there, that field. So I think the pass rush has a good opportunity as any to kind of get after the quarterback. That's going to be a fast surface to play on, so keep that in mind. Hopefully we can get the pass rush, kind of back in line there. And so overall, Green Bay Packers, PFF have them ranked 9th. They have the Rams ranked 23rd. Okay, so they're giving the edge to the Packers there. Power ranking on defense, they've got the Packers 23rd, and they got the Rams 29th. So the edge goes to the Packers there. Power rank on offense, Packers are at 9th. The Rams are currently at 16th with all the injuries. So Packers get the edge there. Strength of schedule played so far, the Packers have played the 19th hardest schedule. The Rams have played the 3rd hardest, so keep that in mind, okay? Average offensive snaps, 69.8 is what the Packers are averaging. The Rams are only averaging 63.5. If you come out of there with 6 extra snaps in this game, really like your chances of winning the ball game there too, control the clock in that sense. When it comes to run to pass ratio, the Packers are running the ball 46.7% of the time, and they're passing 53.3% of the time. The Rams are running the ball 39% of the time. They're passing 61% of the time. So the Packers are running significantly more than the Rams are. Now, when it comes to EPA per run, the Packers are minus 0.05. The Rams are plus 0.04. So they get the slight edge in expected points added when it comes to the running game. EPA per pass, the Packers have the edge at a positive 0.06. The Rams are at a positive 0.03. So that's how that matchup shakes out there. When we look at the quarterback matchup, Jordan Love is currently grading out on PFF at a 69.1. Matthew Stafford is grading out at a 60.7. All right. Passer rating with a clean pocket. Jordan Love, 97.6. Matt Stafford, 105.3. All right. So Matt Stafford, when he's got a clean pocket, when there's no muddy water out there, that dude is playing pretty darn good football. Okay. Passer rating under pressure. Jordan Love, 53.4, dropped significantly, obviously. Matt Stafford, 47.1. So the key to this game is going to be getting pressure on Stafford and stopping that run. That's going to be the key to this game. The fact that they like to run outside so much, a little less run stunting in the middle. Let's get after the quarterback, push that pocket right in Matt Stafford's face, and be aware of the outside edges there with Kyren. Another way that you take them out of that running game, too, in those stretch plays is jump up to an early lead, man. That was the problem last week. There's a lot of things that come into factor with how the game played out last week. And one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, is the fact that we were playing from behind all game long. That makes things really tough on the defense. They've really got to respect the run because, the other team's looking to control that clock. There's no two ways about it. So the problem was, again, the biggest play of that game for me personally is that first cover one call where Stokes gets cooked on the crosser. That set the tone for the entire day. That came on like a 3rd and 14 play or something crazy. If I remember correctly, let me see. Yeah, 3rd and 14. They were at their own 40. That was Darnold to Naylor for 31 yards. You were bracket covering Justin Jefferson, and Stokes just got cooked, man. Absolutely cooked. I didn't like the pre-snap setup too. How he was playing so far off, kind of a semi-stack look there. That's a tough play to make if you're playing cornerback, no doubt about it. So let's see here. As far as the betting line, the spread's currently sitting at +3 LA, so the Packers are 3-point favorites on the road. That typically equates to a 6-point, difference. Usually you get 3 points at home. Now, the Rams might have the worst home field advantage of the entire league. The Packers travel really, really well in California, so expect to hear a lot of Go Pack Go chants similar to what we heard live and in person down there in Nashville for the Titans game. That's a plus for the Packers. Probably going to feel like more of a home game for the Packers with the Rams struggling as much as they are. The money line is on, like I said, LA there at +141. Over-under is set at 48.5. The value there, it's one of 3 bars filled up. For those of you on the pod that can't see this, so they're kind of suggesting you should go with the over with the way these defenses are playing. So there is that. We talked about injuries already. Won't get into that. Getting into the green line real quick. So the market is at 3 points. The Packers are 3-point favorites. The PFF analysts have it at 2.2. Okay, so they have it a little less than 3 there. Cover probability for the Packers, 45.3%. Break even, 48.1%. The value is at -2.8. So they're saying the value is a little bit better for the Rams than it is the Packers when it comes to the spread there. So they're kind of calling for a close game, to be honest with you. The cash, 64% of the cash is on the LA Rams. What that simply means is if you take all the money that's been gambled on the spread, 64% of that total dollar amount is bet on the Rams +3. That's what that means, okay? Now, when it comes to the tickets, the Packers, 54%. What that means is the majority of the total money taken in is on the Rams, but you got a bunch of individual tickets. The ticket count in general is going to the Packers at 54%. It's important to kind of keep up with both of those. When we talk money line, that's simply winning outright. Which team's going to win outright? Okay. Obviously, the value is there for the Rams at +141 as far as betting odds. PFF has it at 141 as well. Win probability, they've got the Packers set at 58.1%. Okay. Break even, 62.3%. Now, the value here is a -4.2 in the money line. They're saying it's decent value for the Rams at +0.2% to win outright. 71 on the money line. Okay. This is just winning outright. 71% of the cash is on the Green Bay Packers. 83% of the tickets are on the Green Bay Packers. That means the public is on the Packers to win this game really, really, really heavy. That worries me sometimes because, like I always say, there's a reason that these casinos and these sports books can afford to hand out those free drinks with pretty little umbrellas, right? Anytime the public is real heavy on a team, you got to be, as a gambler, a novice gambler, that perks your ears like, okay, hold up a minute now. Why isn't that line changing even more to get more money, more tickets over to the Rams side in the money line aspect, right? And again, they're showing the value at 0.2%. So that's probably the reason why. Over under, we're not too crazy about that. Let's just go to the cash and the tickets. So yeah, 82% of the cash is on the over and 73% of the cash is on the tickets in that regard. All right. So there you go with that aspect. Now, we've already kind of hit on the lineups earlier, so let's just go ahead and kind of skip away from that. I'm going to close this out, and we're going to jump into another aspect here. Boy, I hate it when it goes to that single screen by default. That's scary. Let's go to NFL Pro real quick. Where's it at? I think it was NFL Pro I wanted to hit on. Let me do this. Move this around here. Cancel that. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry. Packers at the Rams. Let's see how NFL Pro shakes out here. I like to kind of look at the way they break some of this stuff down as well. So points per game, the Packers are 6th in the league, scoring 26 points per game. The Rams are 23rd at 18.8. Point differential currently, the Packers are 12th in the league at plus 15. That means they've scored 15 more points than they have allowed. The Rams are minus 40 in point differential. That's 29th in the league. Records in close games, both of these teams in close games. Both these teams are 1-2, so that's obviously as close as you can get it. Average margin of victory. The Packers, on average, when they win by 11 points. All right. On average for the Rams, they only win by 3. So if you could jump to an early lead, extend the lead, obviously it goes without saying, more heavily favored for the Packers to win. But with the Rams, the closer the game is, you kind of like your chances of Matt Stafford potentially pulling that out and being able to manage the game down the stretch there. Turnover differential, plus 6 for the Packers. That's first in the league for all this hate and talk on the defense. Man, that's one of the most important statistics that you can have. Those turnover differential or turnovers is just, it's what we didn't have last year. A lot of the other numbers looked good for the Packers last year. We were top 10 in scoring. I think we're 12th in points per play. Everything is pretty much taking a step back statistically for the Packers defense this year outside of turnovers. And I think we had it was either 7 or 8 dropped interceptions last year. And you're seeing this past game, we had our first dropped interception of the year, I believe, with McDuffie. I think Quay might have had one in week 1. I could be wrong. But I know McDuffie had that dropped interception last week. You got to make sure you close on those. Now, total penalties is tough to look at. Packers have 34 total penalties. That's 28th in the league. And the Rams are fairly disciplined. They've only got 22 penalties, 9th best in the league. If you come out and you let the Rams jump up early on you and penalties are an issue again, man, it's going to be a tough day at the office. You got to make sure you play discipline. Now, the fact that there's going to be a lot of Packer fans there, and it's going to kind of feel like almost like a home game for the Packers, at least a neutral site at worst. That's a good thing that may help with the penalties as well. So with that being said, for those of you listening on the pod, that's the end of hour 1. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We will see you on the other side for hour 2.